the first few pages have the proposal aspects. So there's very little debate, I hope, on those. And I want to flip through those slides that are required and get to the more interesting part, which is towards the recommendations and conclusions. So the title, Phenomenological Exploration of the Learning Values Derived from Instructional Short Videos Among Adult Learners. We spent a lot of time defining the title. Initially, the mentor is Dr. Catherine Downey. The committee members in alphabetical order after that, Douglas Neely and Robert Browdy. Then you can see my page with a wall of videos behind. I'm now on page 4. That's the table of contents. The table of contents follows, with some freedom, the paper itself. So introduction, literature review, research method, conclusion, recommendations, and summary. And these yellow pages are the table of contents, so they kind of mark the progress of the presentation. If you see one of these, it means we're making progress. On page 5, I don't want to read this. I put a quote for you. And what's interesting about it is it was written in 1964 by Marshall McLuhan. I'll give you a moment. It seems to me that the spirit of what he was capturing there is still with us. At that time, he was talking about television, radio, telegraph, and not even fax. So, introduction. The first idea is to say that this is big. The amount of video currently being loaded on YouTube as of the time of that quote was 30 hours per minute. Berkeley has videos, many of them with 100,000 views each. There is this consortium in India of schools that is now putting 400 courses online with 16,000 hours of video of lectures. And then there is Professor Wesch from Kansas State University that at the time I looked it up, it had 8 million views on one of his videos, and he's a professor of anthropology. On the next page, we have a picture of Michael Wesch. He's become a celebrity of some sort. Then to say that this is important not just there, but to leadership, right? Because this degree has a focus in leadership. Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, started using this probably first of these 4. But then the other 4 have used videos in many ways to send their messages in, well, as of course Bin Laden in a very bad way, but the other guys to compete, and it's an ongoing leadership tool now to send messages, to tell their followers what to do. And this applies to corporate leaders. I don't have pictures of those right here, but where I work, we get video messages of things to do or simply vision and high-level messages, both from the leadership. I'm saying the opportunity, right? So the opportunity for this is big. The red spot that I have there is that the teachers in general are still evaluating, quote unquote. Anybody can do it. Anybody with a little camera can start putting things online, professor or not, instructor or not. There is the complete global need to learn, right? Because there's still adults around the world that can't read, and videos don't require writing to be able to teach. The internet is becoming ever more pervasive, and the volume being produced. I have another example there of MIT with 1,800 courses. If we go to page 11, by a week ago when I cut and paste this diagram, they already claim they have 2,000 courses on their website. On page 12, which is the last of this website, we have their claim that they've had 100 million visits. This is recent, right? I cut and paste this last week. So these numbers are going up real fast. Now, from my point of view, right, the research doesn't start with the conviction that this is a panacea. The research starts with the possibility of some kind of efficient global reach, but also watching out for some kind of paralyzing anarchy, like the one we saw in Napster for the peer-to-peer transference of music, right? That was killed in the legal courts, or some other media that has eventually perished or nearly perished, like the Telegraph or the fax, right? Media that didn't quite get to the end or had an end of life. The literature review is page 14. It says the most important thing I think I found, and that drives the research, is McLuhan's approach. McLuhan was a critic. McLuhan was somebody that perhaps didn't propose solutions, but that scrutinized everything in media. And he often came with ideas that were not necessarily pretty. So I say his approach is balanced and unapologetic. He was a critic. I think the methodology helps us look for goodness where there is goodness, but it's also helping us find early warnings of decadence. So I put that red. On page 16, I say I found existing research, mostly ethnographic, meaning people describing the culture, like Wesch that I mentioned earlier, Castells, some of the professors that teach media in general, new media in college. They have books that describe what is going on. There is some important material, I think very important, very scientific, around what is called e-learning, where they say, well, if we use more color or less color, what happens? And they do scientific experiments. Mayer is the name that is behind this. There's all kinds of variants, right? The amount of images, the complexity of the images, but it's very, very focused on what they call e-learning and the aspects of what exactly to put in front of the people and what is their reaction. Then there is the long ideas of the instructional design that was more or less started in the Second World War, then moved into University of Florida, and almost every company that teaches like training nurses to do procedures in hospitals follow this instructional design methodology. But it's not quite what we are looking in videos. So my conclusion is there is nothing that really describes or that puts out the theory for this video instructional, highly massive media that we have. So recap. What we're trying to do here, explore how people use short videos for learning. I'm on page 17. On page 18, I say for the theory of learning, right, because I just threw in there a big word, learning, I think what we have are extensive theories with a plural there, and I put it red because I go to the library, I went to several libraries, and there's aisles and aisles of books on education like you can't believe, or maybe you've seen them, but it's overwhelming. But they even have trouble, and this is a quote that I have from I think Schwell, an important analyst of all these theories, is they even have trouble defining learning from the psychological, from the academic, from the different points of view. They have divergent causality ideas, meaning what makes learning or what provokes learning. Is it in the people? Is it in the teacher? And so on. But instead of getting lost there, they all agree on the importance of learning. So that's as far as I go there, even though I did looked extensively to see what was going to be useful. And there are a couple of ideas that I still remain here. So on page 19, what we do have is things are happening. So page 19 is to say there's iTunes putting out something that anybody on their phone, on their laptop, can get to the iTunes University for free, and it's amazing what's happening there. So I try to make a comparison with the Gutenberg press. By the way, that's not my idea. I think the first one to do a comparison with Gutenberg in media was McLuhan, and later Castells does something similar when he compares the internet to Gutenberg. But
what do they call it? What do they call it? Can we interrupt as we go on, or should we hold our question till the end?
Chopo, do you have a preference?
I think the interesting material is towards the end, but I think that doing clarification questions along the way, meaning concise, related to the material, make sure that I'm not going the wrong way. So how about clarification questions, and we leave the debate till the end?
Okay. My question is probably that's probably longer than my question. I was just going to say, I'm sitting here with all this technology around me. You know, I got my iPad, I got my laptop here, and I'm following along. What do you mean by iTunes? Why do they call it iTunes?
Okay. What page am I in here? iTunes is the software that runs, it's made by Apple, and it runs on any computer, any PC, but of course it also runs on a Mac, where you would download music primarily. Also, you download TV and movies. But if you click one of the chapters, as much as it has music, podcast, videos meaning TV and entertainment videos, it has another section which is the iTunes U, iTunes University. And it is collecting videos and podcasts from hundreds of universities. I think the number is now around 200. So Oxford, MIT, Berkeley, what have you, have their videos of their lectures on iTunes U, very simply organized, indexed, cross-referenced, easy to get. That's what I mean by iTunes U.
Well, that's perfect. I mean, I could get you way off in the ditch. I won't do that now. I'm just enamored with others. I this, I that, and the other. So that helps me for now.
Thank you. So I'll keep going. I go to page, let's say where the movie camera is. I put the movie camera as I can't see the page number. It is page 21. The movie camera is important because, first of all, it's one of those things that changed the world we live in. And Professor Manovich from Southern California, I forget exactly which one, the California System of Schools, put together a book that is called The Language of New Media. And he describes language that I use, or ideas that I use, to say the movie camera changed the way we see things. Because the camera can move from position to position. There could be two cameras at once. The camera produces film that does not have to be seen sequentially. So you can see a movie, see first the end and then the beginning, which never happens in reality, unless you're dreaming, of course. But he puts together ideas that I'm going to use, and I think the film industry has much to do with what is happening here in the video for learning. I'm not sure I want to spend much more time there. To get to the problem statement on page 22, what we stated in the proposal is that students are going to be disappointed more and more if the instructors, not necessarily university professors, but in general, anybody that's trying to teach something, is not using the new media. Because if they can do it quickly on short video or on Wikipedia or some other source, or have to waste a lot of time from somebody that is not using the media efficiently, they're going to be disappointed. The part of the problem is that as much as some industries are fast to embrace, the teachers in general have been slow to embrace, and pointed by several of the theories that I read, or the academics that I read, the theory of media always falls behind. It seems that media appears, and then the theorists figure out explanations after the fact. It's not like astronomy, that they're putting out the theory at the same time they're doing investigation, or math and physics, where once they invent the theory, then they start observing stuff. This is lagging theory, I say. But the red word there is waste. If somebody's not using the resources effectively, if the students are disappointing, if the theory that we have is not the right one, what we're producing is waste.